Hey, you guys. Hey, guys. Welcome to the Flipside. I'm Melanie, and I'm here with Eric Sanzone.
Hey, Melanie. Good to see you. Good to be back on the Flipside.
Yeah, so this is your first Sunday back
Flipside. That's
from
right.
sabbatical.
That's right.
First Sunday message.
First Sunday. Yeah, I was at the Lynn Haven
Message.
campus hosting last week, but first sermon.
Yeah, how'd it feel?
Felt good. Felt just like before.
It's like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike. We figured if you count times in student ministry, I'm probably somewhere north of 500 sermons. So, yeah, it was fun. It's great.
Felt good to be up there.
Here's what I say, Mel. Never ask the preacher how the sermon was. He has she has no idea. Okay, let's get into the flip side.
Let's get into some questions. Here we go. So the flip side, the sermon series is the songs we sing, and the song you spoke about today was You Keep Hope Alive. I wrote we. No, you. Jesus, keep hope alive. All right, question 1. How do you keep hope alive when you see a family member struggling with chronic depression repeatedly?
Oh, that's a great question. I would actually... The first thing I think of is Ryan's message from a week ago. Mm-hmm. Actually, he talked at the end about John Eldredge has this app he created called 1 Minute Pause. Highly recommend the 1 Minute Pause app by John Eldredge. You can Google it, find it on your Apple or whatever your store is, app store. And at the end of that pause, he says, Jesus, I give everything and everyone to you. Mm. And we can't bring people out of depression. Mm-hmm. We can't change the people we love. It's not ours. Mm-hmm. And so what we have to do is find hope for ourselves. Yeah. And how are we going to find hope in the midst of loved ones who are really struggling? And that's giving them over to Jesus. And so often we want to fix it. Right. And we can't. We can't. And so you can invite, you can walk alongside, you can encourage, but as soon as we're taking responsibility for their health, it's so hard. So
it's a losing battle.
It's a losing battle. Yeah. Because it's not our battle to fight. And so love them, do what you can do, but don't think that you can fix it. That's the first step in recovery, right? I am powerless to change myself and others. Yeah. So Jesus, I give everything and everyone to you. And
that's good.
Keep finding hope.
It reminds me a little bit of Steve Cuss, kind of like a tangent to Steve Cuss talks about you can only control the space in you. Right. You can't control the space in somebody else.
So Steve Cuss was a pastor. Now he's not a pastor. He's an author. He has a ministry, an online community. Mel and I, some of us are a part of, called Capable Life. Highly recommend. Just Google Steve Cuss. His blog is stevecusswords.com. His podcast, Managing Leadership Anxiety, is fantastic. But he talks about there are 4 spaces. There's the space within me. There's the space between us. There's the space
in you and
that's
the
what
other
I said.
person. Oh,
so there's
me, between us, and in the other person.
Yep.
Right. So 3.
4, and me and God.
And me and God. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. All right, let's keep going.
All right. Sorry. Question number 2. Not related to the sermon, but how do you talk to your son and daughter about sexting? They just got phones and they're starting to get exposed to that environment. Let's hang on to that question since it's sort of like another outside of the sermon series. Maybe. Okay. And let's go to this question. We'll come back to that one.
Great.
Question 3 is, how do you find hope in relationships when you have been hurt so many times in every way he mentioned?
Yeah. So again, I would say, how do you find hope? Well, you're going to need to find a community of people who can help you experience genuine love and connection. If you live in Hampton Roads, come to Celebrate Recovery on a Monday. You're like, how do I find hope? You find hope by finding a community of people who are willing to walk with you on your journey of hope. It's not as simple as anything, but you have to start, and don't start alone. Right. The number of times one of the reasons we stay hopeless is we stay alone. So you need a community. So if you might say, yeah, I have a great community now. Awesome. Then lean into that community together. If you don't have a community, come on Monday or Tuesday night to Celebrate Recovery. Join that community. That's good. And then I would say, if it's really, it sounds really painful, hurting so many times in every way mentioned. I mean, gosh, I mentioned some really difficult ways. I would definitely encourage you to come and join Celebrate Recovery because it will actually give you a plan to discover healing. That's
Yeah.
what's unique. It's not, people think that recovery is mostly about drugs and alcohol. It's not. That's maybe 20% of a Monday or Tuesday night. It's really about all the different hurts, habits, and hangups.
Sure.
But then the difference is there's actually a step-by-step process to walk you along a healing journey. It works. So that's what I would say there.
And I know the folks who are behind the scenes working the Flipside will put those links in.
I'm sure they already have.
Yeah, they probably already have.
I'd be shocked if they didn't.
So good. And so you mentioned this already, but
Smart
Monday
people
nights,
working hard.
Monday nights, Celebrate Recovery is at the Lynn Haven campus, and then Tuesday nights at our Norfolk campus off Tidewater Drive. So good. Great. You've said it before too about Celebrate Recovery and our church, right? Like, so you as a pastor have the ability to pray with someone, listen, pray with them. But this is a community. This is a plan. This is a group of people that are surrounding them to walk through and develop a plan to be able to get through that hurt. So
right. Yeah.
Prayer's good, and here's a plan.
Here's a plan. We need it both. We need it all. Yeah.
All right, so let's circle back to that other question that's not exactly related, but let's ask it.
I would love to talk about this.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about this. Okay, first thing, when it comes to kids and phones, I want to encourage everyone who's a parent. You are the parent. You don't owe your child anything, and you do what's best for them. And they might not like it, and that's okay. So number one, if something's going wrong with your kid and a phone, you can take that phone away today. They do not need a phone.
Right.
People lived with, I know, shocker.
Right.
We lived without phones for a long time, especially the younger your child was. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I think our kids, the earliest a kid got a phone was probably 7th grade, our youngest in 7th grade, because we realized that she was going to be home alone a bunch. But you got to know your kid.
Sure.
So,
hey, and the good news is so many people have phones that really phones are more accessible, and them reaching out to their parents is more accessible than ever. They don't need to have one.
Yeah, you don't need constant access to your kid. They don't need constant access to you. I'm hoping the school division stays strong and eliminates phones. Have you read about that?
I don't think it's. I know I haven't.
Oh, school board decided no phones for high schools.
Wow. I did not read that.
Oh, yeah. Well, being for our schools, I try to keep up on what's happening.
Okay.
So no, it's the number one thing. You're the parent, and it will feel like everyone's against you, and you're the bad parent, and everybody else's parents. Yeah, everybody else's parents, whatever. Who cares? You're not everybody else's. They're not your child, right?
Yeah.
You're called a parent. You're a kid. So just empowered as a parent.
Good.
Number two, you have to figure out how to lock down their phone. So I only know Apple devices, but you can go into screen time and you can lock down everything you want. You can control apps. You control App Store access. You control how long they spend on apps. And then, so do that regardless. You got to do that.
Yep.
You can get those reports sent to you. And then you're probably buying, it's your phone, they're the child. So then you just look, you have full access, you have full rights to look at it.
All passwords.
Right. All passwords, everything.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying we're just stumbling along like everybody else, but delay social media, delay. So, our rising 8th grader does not have any social media on her phone. Zero. None, that I know of.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't, right? She's Sarah Joy. She's the best. So delay, right? And we've limited. Every kid has one social media on their phone, and you should have access to it. You should have access to it. You should have access.
Oh, I've never heard that before. I heard you say they have one social media.
Yeah.
What are they typically choosing?
They have Insta.
Okay.
Yeah, Instagram.
That's great.
Yeah, because it's.
Yeah.
It's just every study shows, every study shows that the phone and social media is going to affect your kid negatively, right? It's like, hey, so do you serve your kid poison with breakfast? Probably not, but that's what that is. So how do you limit that? Is navigating. What tipped us into even allowing any of our kids to have social media, unfortunately, was when they were in high school. It's how they worked. The school was communicating. It's how clubs. They were genuinely missing out on things at school by not having Instagram. But delay. That's delay. And then another tip would be don't let them have a browser. Go to Covenant Eyes. Go to covenanteyes.com. Pay the $6 a month or whatever it is. You get the Covenant Eyes browser on their phone. You delete Safari. You delete Google, Chrome. You delete the ability to install browsers. And now everything they do on the web has to go through this filter, and you get reporting. It's not a fail-safe because there's enough trash everywhere else, but they don't need YouTube. Like delay, deny, and then it's a privilege. And so if there is sexting happening, talking to your kid about sex is like a whole different subject. But then just take the phone away. Take it away. Like if inappropriate things are happening. So I think it said, how do you talk to them?
Sure.
So let's just do that. How do you talk to your daughter about sexting or son is a lot like talking about sex generally.
Because you just approached like the technology piece, right? But
Correct.
But this question goes deeper than just like that. That's one piece you can control, and then.
Yeah,
the
so
sex part.
I would remind them that everything that they do can live forever on the internet, and so that's huge. I would talk to them about, hey, your sexuality is a very special gift for you to treasure with you and your future spouse. Don't share that with someone else. Don't allow someone to use you in that way. If someone sends your child inappropriate pictures, report it. Report it to whomever you can report it to, their parents, their school, whatever. Like, do not let that go.
Agreed, yeah.
And then if it has to come to it, just you might have to shut down the messaging feature. Last thing, and I'm not an expert on this. I can't quote it, but there is a company that's developed a smartphone.
Okay.
That is like a dumb smartphone.
Yes, that's.
Do you know about the dumb smartphone?
Yes, I don't know the name of it.
If you Google dumb smartphone, it basically allows you to have like navigation for your maps. There is some texting. I don't know if it has a browser or not, but it's essentially like the minimal requirements. I think if our kids were younger, we might have gone the dumb smartphone. So I would Google that, you'll find it. So
there are options, and you mentioned something. There are lots of options out there, like again the technology piece, but really getting into identity and who they are, right? How they were made, and who they want to be and how they see themselves. Because a lot of sharing myself in those inappropriate ways might have something to do with how I view myself, my self-esteem, wanting that attention from somebody else, thinking that's the avenue to get that attention. So probably getting to the core of self-confidence and identity and having those conversations early on, because once this is happening, the sexting thing is happening, there are many years that conversations can be had prior to that time to plant the seeds and building that character.
Do you want to check to see if any other questions came in? Wow. And I will say my last thing here about this question.
Okay.
If we do a short-term group at both campuses called Parenting Beyond Your Capacity, it would be a great opportunity to gather with some other parents and go through this resource, Parenting Beyond Your Capacity. Would recommend that to encourage you on the parenting journey. At whatever phase your child is, elementary, middle school, high school, there are directors in each of those phases at all of our campuses that would love to talk to you. Every child has a small group leader that would love to talk to you. So engage with those people. We really want to walk with you and your family through all these
and the beautiful part about that small group leader is adult small group leaders especially would love to have conversations to just reiterate or support the things that you're saying at home.
And we're all dealing with this.
Yes.
Like nobody, this family, that family doesn't have this all figured out. So we are all on this journey together, and we just swap wisdom, and not on the mic, but we can swap pain stories, face to face, and failure. I mean, some of my greatest parenting failures are around technology. Some of my greatest parenting regrets are around technology, and would love to help people avoid those. So
that's great.
Is that it?
So those are all the questions for the Flipside today.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for answering them.
Mel, good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, you can follow social, all that sort of good stuff. All the things, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Go to connect with a school. GraceBible.Church /schools for our schools. See you guys.